Every time I fell asleep, I woke up 1 hour later in a different place. I first realized something was wrong when I woke up standing barefoot in the middle of a gas station parking lot at 3:17 in the morning. I was wearing the same sweatpants and t-shirt I had gone to bed in. My phone was in my hand. My feet were black from the asphalt, and I had no idea how I got there. At first, I thought I was sleepwalking. That was the easiest explanation. People sleepwalk. People do weird things when they're exhausted. Maybe I had gotten up, unlocked my apartment, walked down 3 flights of stairs, crossed 2 blocks, and somehow ended up at the 2 4-hour gas station near my building. That explanation lasted about 10 seconds. Because then I looked down at my phone and saw the Open Notes app. There was a new note. I didn't remember writing it. It said, "Don't go back to sleep." My name is Mark Ellison. I was 26 at the time, living alone in a small apartment outside Columbus, Ohio. I worked remotely for an insurance company, which meant most of my days looked exactly the same. Wake up, coffee, laptop, emails, dinner, YouTube until midnight, sleep. Nothing unusual. Nothing that would explain why, one night, my body apparently decided to leave without me. I called an Uber and went home. The driver kept looking at me in the mirror because I had no shoes, no jacket, and no explanation. When I got back to my apartment, the door was locked from the outside. That scared me more than waking up at the gas station. Because if I had sleepwalked out, I had locked the door behind me. I checked the security chain, still hanging loose inside. Nothing broken, nothing missing. Just my bed, my laptop, my half-empty water bottle, and the phone charger still plugged in beside my pillow. I sat on the edge of the bed until sunrise, staring at that note. Don't go back to sleep. But eventually, exhaustion wins. It always does. The next day, I bought one of those cheap indoor cameras and set it up on my bookshelf, aimed at my bed and apartment door. That night, I made coffee at 10 p.m. and promised myself I wouldn't sleep. By midnight, I was still awake. By 1 a.m., I was watching old sitcoms with the volume low. By 2 a.m., I was blinking longer than I should have. Then I blinked once and woke up sitting in the driver's seat of my car. The engine was off. The keys were in the ignition. I was parked outside a church I had never been to. My phone said 3:06 a.m. Exactly 1 hour later, I didn't even know I had driven there until I saw my hands on the steering wheel. My apartment was almost 4 miles away. I checked my phone again. Another note. You're getting better. I almost threw the phone across the car. Then I remembered the camera. I drove home faster than I should have, ran upstairs, and opened the footage. For the first 30 minutes, nothing happened. I was in bed, sleeping normally. Then, at exactly 2:06 a.m., I sat up. But it wasn't like waking up. I didn't stretch. I didn't look confused. I sat straight up, like someone had turned me on. On the footage, I turned my head slowly toward the camera. I stared directly at it. Then I smiled. I need you to understand something. I don't smile like that. Nobody smiles like that when they're alone in the dark. It wasn't happy. It was patient. Like whoever was wearing my face knew I would be watching later. I got out of bed, walked to the closet, put on shoes, picked up my car keys, and left. That was it. No shaking, no stumbling, no sleepwalking. I moved like I knew exactly where I was going. The worst part was what happened after I left. About 20 minutes later, my phone on the desk lit up. I hadn't taken it with me. The phone I had woken up with in the car was in my pocket. But on the footage, my phone was still on the desk. I paused the video so hard my finger hurt. Then I checked my pocket. My phone was there. Same case. Same everything. I looked back at the footage. The phone on the desk lit up with one notification. It was from me. See you soon. That was when I stopped believing this was sleepwalking. The next few days became a blur of caffeine and fear. I tried everything. I stacked chairs in front of the door. I tied a belt around my wrist and connected it to the bed frame. I even filled a glass with water and balanced it on the doorknob, thinking the sound would wake me up if I tried to leave. None of it worked. Every time I fell asleep, even for a few seconds, I woke up exactly 1 hour later, somewhere else. A laundromat, a grocery store parking lot, the hallway outside my old high school. Once, I woke up sitting on a bench at a playground, staring at the swings moving by themselves in the dark. And every time, there was a message, not always in my phone. Sometimes it was written on my hand, sometimes on a receipt in my pocket, sometimes scratched into dust on my car window. The messages were short. Stop fighting. You'll understand soon. I'm fixing us. That last one was the worst because it sounded personal, like whoever was doing this didn't hate me. It thought it was helping. After the fifth night, I called my older sister, Rachel. I didn't tell her everything. I just said I was having blackouts and needed someone to stay with me. She arrived around 8 p.m. with a sleeping bag, pepper spray, and the look people give you when they're trying very hard not to seem worried. Rachel had always been the practical one. She told me we'd stay awake together, record everything, and go to the hospital in the morning. For the first few hours, having her there helped. We played cards. We drank coffee. We made fun of bad movies. At 1:42 a.m., I remember laughing at something stupid she said. Then the room tilted. My eyes closed, just for a second. When I opened them, I was standing in Rachel's kitchen. Not my apartment. Rachel's house, across town. It was 2:42 a.m. Exactly 1 hour later. Rachel was sitting at the kitchen table. She looked terrified, not surprised, terrified, like she had been waiting for me.
Mark,
She whispered.
what did you say to me?
I told her I didn't know what she meant. She backed away from the table.
You woke up,
She said.
but it wasn't you.
I wanted to ask what happened, but then I saw the knife on the table between us. Not in her hand, not in mine, just sitting there, clean, ordinary. But I knew neither of us had put it there. Rachel said that after I fell asleep, I sat up and started talking. She said my voice sounded normal, but the way I spoke was wrong. Too calm, too familiar. She said I told her things I should not have known, things from her childhood, things she had never told me. Then I apparently asked her one question. Do you think Mark deserves another chance? Rachel didn't answer. So I smiled and said, he wasted the first one. That sentence broke something in me, because the truth was, I had been wasting my life. I didn't talk to people unless I had to. I ignored calls. I avoided my family. I let days disappear into screens and takeout boxes. But hearing it said by something using my body made it feel like a judgment. Rachel made me promise to go to the hospital. I promised, but I didn't go. I was too scared they would lock me up. Or worse, that I'd fall asleep there and wake up somewhere I couldn't explain. So instead, I went home and did the stupidest thing possible. I decided to stay awake until it stopped. By the third day, without real sleep, my apartment didn't feel real anymore. The walls breathed. The shadows moved when I wasn't looking. My own reflection seemed delayed by half a second. At 4:10 p.m., I was standing in the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face. I looked up. In the mirror, behind me, my bedroom door was open. But in real life, behind me, it was closed. Then my reflection smiled. I didn't. I turned around so fast I slipped and hit my shoulder on the sink. The door was still closed. When I looked back at the mirror, written in the fogged glass were 3 words. You're so tired. That night, I duct-taped my phone to my chest and started a voice recording. I also left the camera running. Before I lay down, I spoke into the recorder. If you're real, I said, tell me what you want. Then I forced myself to keep my eyes open. I lasted maybe 20 minutes. When I woke up, I was in the woods. No streetlights, no houses, just trees, cold air, and the sound of leaves moving around me. My phone said 12:31 a.m., 1 hour later. The voice recorder was still running. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the phone. I pressed play. At first, there was only silence. Then I heard myself breathing. Then my voice said, "Finally." It was me. But not me. My voice sounded older somehow, tired in a different way. The recording continued. I heard myself get out of bed. I heard footsteps, keys, the apartment door, the car. Then, after a long stretch of driving, my voice spoke again. "You keep asking what I want. That's the problem with you, Mark. You always think this is being done to you." There was a pause. Then, "I am you." I stopped walking. The woods were silent. On the recording, my voice continued. "Not a demon, not a ghost, not something under your bed. I'm what's left after you ruin everything." I didn't want to listen, but I couldn't stop. "You don't remember this yet," the voice said, "but 1 year from now, Rachel dies because you don't answer your phone. You'll be drunk, asleep, and feeling sorry for yourself. She'll call 3 times. You'll wake up too late." I felt my stomach twist. "Rachel," the voice went on. "After that, you get worse. You stop working, stop eating, stop leaving the apartment. You spend years wishing you could go back and become someone else." Another pause, then a soft laugh. "And eventually, you do." I don't know how long I stood there. The trees around me looked wrong, like they were leaning closer to hear. Then the recording ended with one final sentence. "Every hour you lose, I get 1 hour to fix it." I wanted to believe it was lying, but when I checked my call history, there were 3 missed calls from Rachel, all from the previous night, all during one of my blackouts. I called her immediately. She answered on the second ring. She was fine, angry, scared, but fine. I told her I loved her. She went quiet. I don't think I had said that to her in years. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she said,
Mark, where are you?
I looked around at the trees. I don't know. That was when I saw the car. Not my car. An old gray sedan parked between the trees, half hidden off a dirt road. The driver's door was open. The headlights were on, and someone was sitting in the back seat. I should have run. Instead, I walked closer. Inside the car was me. Not exactly me. Older, thinner, hair longer, face hollow, eyes sunken from years of not sleeping. He was wearing my hoodie, the same one I had on. He looked at me like he had been waiting a long time. "You're not supposed to see me yet," he said. His voice matched the recording. I couldn't move. He leaned forward, and the dome light flickered above him. "You keep fighting me," he said. "That makes this harder." "What are you?" I asked. He looked almost offended. "I told you. I'm you. That's not possible." He smiled. "Neither is waking up across town every night." I asked him why he was doing this. He said, "Because I remember what happens when nobody does." Then he told me things. Not all of them, just enough. He told me Rachel's death wasn't the only thing I would fail to stop. He told me my mother would spend 2 years calling me every Sunday, and I would let every call go to voicemail. He told me my father would die thinking I hated him. He told me I would become the kind of person who disappears while still technically being alive. And then he said something I still hear when the room gets quiet. "You think I'm stealing your life. I'm trying to save it from you." I told him I didn't want his help. He laughed. "You never do." Then he opened his hand. In his palm was my phone, but my phone was in my hand. His screen was cracked in the exact same place. On it was a countdown, 0 hours, 4 minutes, and 12 seconds. "What happens when it reaches 0? I asked. He looked sad. "You wake up." "Where?" He stared at me. "Less and less." I didn't understand then. I do now. The first nights, I lost 1 hour, then more. It started changing after that. I would fall asleep for 1 minute and wake up 3 hours later, then 6, then half a day. And during those missing hours, my life improved. That was the part that made it harder to hate him. He cleaned my apartment. He answered emails. He called my mother. He took Rachel to dinner. He paid overdue bills. He threw away empty bottles I didn't remember buying. He even started running in the mornings. People noticed. My boss said I seemed sharper. My mother cried because I called her first. Rachel told me, carefully, that whatever I was doing, I seemed better. And maybe I was. But I wasn't the one doing it. I began leaving notes for myself. For him, this is my life. He would answer, then live it. I wrote, stop taking my time. He replied, you were throwing it away. I wrote, I'm scared. The next morning, written on the bathroom mirror, good. Fear means you're paying attention. By then, I was sleeping with the lights on. Not because I thought it would stop him, because I didn't want my last moments before losing control to be in the dark. The final night started normally. That's what scares me most. No storm, no strange noise, no message. Just me sitting on my bed, holding a notebook, trying to stay awake. I had written one sentence across the page. If you take everything, what happens to me? I must have fallen asleep with the pen still in my hand. When I woke up, I was back in my apartment. For a second, I felt relief. Then I saw the clock. 3 days had passed. My beard was longer. My body ached. There were groceries in the kitchen. Clean laundry folded on the couch. A new framed photo on the table showed me, Rachel, and my parents at dinner. Everyone was smiling. I had no memory of it. On my desk was the notebook. Under my question, there was an answer. You rest. That was when the phone rang. Rachel. I answered immediately. She sounded happy, really happy. She said,
I know this is random, but I'm proud of you.
I couldn't speak. She continued.
I don't know what changed, Mark, but it feels like you came back.
I looked at the clean apartment, the folded clothes, the family photo, my own reflection in the dark window. Then I saw him behind me, not in the room, in the reflection. Older me, standing where I stood, matching my posture perfectly. He put one finger to his lips. Rachel asked if I was still there. I said yes, but my voice cracked. She asked,
Are you okay?
I wanted to tell her everything. I wanted to say I was disappearing. I wanted to say that some future version of me was hollowing me out one sleep at a time, and everyone liked him better. But then I looked at the photo again. Everyone was alive. Everyone was smiling. So I said, yeah, I'm okay. Behind me, in the reflection, older me smiled. Not cruelly, sadly, like he was sorry. That night, I didn't try to stay awake. I lay down. I looked at the ceiling. And for the first time in weeks, I let myself sleep. When I opened my eyes, I was standing in front of the bathroom mirror. My hands were on the sink. The apartment was quiet. The clock read 4:44 a.m. There was a note taped to the mirror. I don't remember writing it, but the handwriting was mine. It said that I looked older. Not much. Maybe just tired. Maybe just different. But when I smiled like him. I'm recording this now because I don't know how much time I have left. Sometimes I still wake up in strange places, but not every night anymore. Sometimes I wake up at my desk after finishing work I don't remember doing. Sometimes I wake up in my car outside my parents' house with flowers in the passenger seat. Sometimes I wake up standing outside Rachel's place, just making sure her lights are on. And every time, exactly 1 hour is missing. Only now, I'm not sure which one of us is missing it. Last night, before I went to sleep, I left one final note on my pillow. Who am I when I wake up? This morning, there was an answer. One word. Better. So if you ever start losing time when you sleep, if you wake up somewhere you don't remember going, if you find messages in your own handwriting telling you not to be afraid, don't assume something evil is taking over. That's what I thought too. But sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't that someone else wants your life. Sometimes it's realizing they might deserve it more than you do.